Well, howdy guys, welcome back. Here we are on episode number 5, and goodness, where do I even begin? So I have a million and one things to say, and some of them are funny, some of them are not as funny. Okay, so this one is the one that's not as funny. So after the last episode, I paused the game, because I was all like feeling great about the episode. I alt-tabbed, and I was just like, you know, cruising Reddit, and I was like, just brainstorming, looking at other like YouTube videos, just having a blast, responding to comments, and you know, time goes by, and I was like, oh, you know what? I should start editing the video. I should put this up for the internet, right? So I go to load the clips and stuff, and I'm like, oh shoot, you know what? The game's still running. It's eating so much of my system resources. So I'll just close the game. So I closed the game, but I didn't save the progress, and so I was like riding high, and I went to like load the episode today. And I loaded it, and I was like, that's funny, where's the, oh gosh, what have you done? And I was like, just sitting here with like my jaw, like hitting my knees, being like, what have you done? And then I just for like 2 seconds panicked, and then I was like, oh no, silly, you can probably fix this, it's still pretty early. So I sat down, watched the episode, kind of built along, had some fun doing that actually. Seriously, they're pretty fun to watch, these episodes, I won't lie to you. And yeah, so we're kind of back where we were before. I did make some slight improvements because I got a little bit carried away. Actually, what I started to do, I won't lie to you, is I did get caught up with the building, and then I started to record the episode where I just created this little kind of like a heating point, you know, I want to say for the city, right? So we have some boilers. Well, we have a boiler. We have some geothermal heating. And then what I was doing was just slowly upgrading the piping the whole way through the city, but I just literally kept running out of money, so it just ended up being like almost an entire episode of me just kind of doing nothing but, you know, upgrading pipes. So what I instead did was just kind of, you know, restarted. Here we are, ready to go. As you can see, I did rebuild the city. Looks pretty much the same as before. Some slight improvements. I left this road here just for the spacing sake of the train stations, and I actually left one of the train stations in this time. So I see there it is there. Yes, I love seeing these TTC vehicles. Okay, so here is the absolute best news possible, because I actually didn't, you know, like I said, I didn't realize I erased the city, or not erased, I just didn't save it until like literally like an hour plus ago, maybe 2 hours ago. So I've just been, you know, living carefree and happy ever since. Anyway, so last night after I edited the video, or whenever it was, I got the city of Lakewood running, and it was the most amazing thing ever. Like I got it running, and the second it started, I like went in the cinematic view, and I was just kind of staring at some intersections, and then it started to rain, and it just looked so, it was so perfect, and I loved it. And it just like, it was like that feeling of being home, and it was great. So I can't wait to share that with you guys again. So the city, it's up and running, and expect me to make some content, hopefully this weekend. So I think kind of my game plan for that is expect episodes of this series to come out a little bit more frequently, just in the kind of, you know, in the short term. And then on weekends, what I'll try and do is maybe record 2 or 3 episodes, and then I can kind of release those of the Lakewood city. And then as the Snowfall kind of, you know, we'll kind of see what we do with this city, but, you know, Snowfall's not forever. I think we'll kind of grow tired of the snow, especially when the spring rolls around, right? This is kind of like a winter theme for the winter time. But I think we'll be shifting towards the European city, maybe once the weather gets nice in real life outside. So we'll kind of, you know, we'll see how it goes, but I'm enjoying building this. I think our city is coming along. Anyway, what I was going to say as well is that I managed to get Lakewood running with all the custom assets again. That was kind of the cool part. So I forgot to turn those off again for this city, and when it loaded, I was like, ah, heck, we'll just keep them. So the city is now like chock full of custom assets. So you'll see a whole bunch of new buildings, some new skyscrapers, and for those of you that do want an asset list, like, oh my goodness, like it's honestly, like, I do apologize, I can't put them all up because I literally have downloaded over 1,000. Like, it just, like, the list, it's too long. I wish there was like a way I could just, you know, send you guys a link to all the ones I've downloaded, but oh my goodness, it is very extensive. So my best piece of advice, if you guys do want to find some assets, is just cruise through the workshop, look and see what's popular. You know, they're not popular by accident, or more or less. And if I do use any that you guys like really want, just like call them up by name. I will do my absolute best to find some links for you. And if not, you know, I'll try and use the wording. Maybe you can search them for yourself type thing. I will try and post some cool ones here and there, but unfortunately, yeah, there's like just so many. Okay, so on to this episode. Let me tell you a little bit more about what my plan is. And actually, since we're at our nice overhead view here, so traffic, it might look like it's running a bit smoother. What I did is actually disabled the Traffic++ mod, and I replaced it with the Traffic President. And this one here, I haven't really meddled around with it too much yet, but you can apparently, yeah, set like, you know, vehicle restrictions, you can set speed limits, we can kind of like, you know, make priority intersections, we can change the timing of the lights around. So this intersection sometimes gets backed up, right? So we can kind of explore and see. Maybe some timed lights would be beneficial, right? Because look who's backing up more, right? It's the highway versus this, you know? So we can probably benefit with a longer red light for these guys to have to wait for. And then that way we can clear the highway backlog a bit more efficiently. So that's the kind of stuff I'll explore a little bit off camera, and then I can kind of fill you guys in with my, my game plan. Okay, so the last thing I did build off camera, which was actually, like, again, part of the last episode, but it just didn't really, you know, the timing, it just didn't really, it just did not work. And I wish I'd done this at the end so I could have kept it. But I made this incredibly massive rail interchange, because I totally forgot to, you know, reconnect this. And I only realized after the episode, and then my thoughts were to kind of make a rail interchange, you know, for the next episode. And so let me run you through this, because this is a very, very, very massive interchange here. Okay, so the way it works, so pretend you're a train, you know, coming in, right? So you're going on the outside track. If you want to cross over, you would not go this way. So you are always going to stay to the outside, the way I have my rail bridges and everything set up right here. So again, go to the outside, that brings you up over, you'll connect with the outside. My goal was to kind of follow the same merging rules as the, you know, the interchange right here. So you can kind of see everywhere you go, same idea, right? You're just going to stick to the outside, you know, and then you're going to merge with, you know, a train that kind of goes in your own direction. And the goal for this is to stop traffic from kind of flowing in front of itself, same as this interchange right here. So that way the trains aren't waiting for another train to kind of go by. And when they are merging, you know, again, they're merging, you know, in the proper direction, hopefully at the same speed. So this should keep everyone moving nice and quickly. And then this is going to link up, if you guys remember, the game plan is to eventually shift all of our industry over to this little peninsula. And then we can do some terraforming, we can make some harbors in here, we can make some cool, you know, we can bring in a train yard, we can get some custom assets going. Like the sky's the limit. We can get some really tall cranes, we can get, like, you know, like parked ships as assets. Like we'll put in some like rocks and stuff, make a seawall. Like it'll look pretty cool. So I'm excited for that. That's like obviously down the road. And those are the kind of things like I'll name, you know, like part of the harbor after some of you guys, or, you know, or this and that, right? Or like the interchanges. So, you know, keep an eye out for that. I think I'll probably start doing the first round of namings this weekend, so there's probably going to be, you know, 2 or 3 episodes in between that. I just need a little bit of time just to kind of, you know, write down your names and, you know, get everything going. Because just in general, here, sorry, let me do some building as we're talking here. Yeah, so in general, if you guys are new to the channel, I am a little bit of an odd job jack, so I do like work a lot of jobs. I do work a 9 to 5 throughout the week, so when I do record episodes for you guys, it is usually in the evening after that, and then I will do the video editing as like I'm eating my dinner type thing, and then I try to get it out either like, you know, the nights of, or usually I'll record it, or I'll can't even speak. I'll release it in the morning. And you know, if I got you know, days off or time in between, I'll definitely record more type thing. But yeah, that's kind of just my game plan. I try to record a lot on weekends and then release those as the days go on. But you know, the long-term plan obviously is to make more videos. Hopefully this becomes popular enough that I can, you know, leave my job. Oh my goodness, that would be the dream, but I was definitely dreaming. But who knows, crazier things have happened. And I don't think that spacing is very correct. Maybe we can try that bridge again. Actually, let's just do that from over here. Yeah, wouldn't it be crazy if I could just leave my job for YouTube videos? What a thing to have to say. But yeah, you know, crazier things, they literally have happened. Okay, so I see what I've done wrong here. I've built this off the wrong connection points. So we'll go like that. And gonna go like this. Okay, is that lined up? It is. There we go. Now that should be even. It is now even. Perfect. Okay, so in general, for this little, you know, interchange kind of ongoing, I had some great suggestions come in. And what I think we could do, actually we could probably tackle this right now even, is we're unfortunately going to have to move the tram lines. But my thoughts for that is, since we now have this little, you know, downward kind of connecting point right here, these are all tram tracks, we might as well extend the network. So, kind of see what we'll do is we'll pause the game. We have enough money to kind of make some changes and everything. I will delete, what line should we, no, I expect to delete them both because they're both going through here. Okay, so delete that, delete this. Should still have, yep, that one is fine and untouched. We'll leave that the way it is. And then what we'll do is, oh, you know, I even see it now. We can probably go up and over. Oh, and one of the snow dumps finished emptying, so that's now gonzo. But you can kind of see we should have another line kind of going through here that connects to here, right? And then we're gonna have to start incorporating some buses too, because we can't have trams everywhere, you know. Trams it's a little bit expensive. We get our trains going. Oh my goodness, there's so much to do. All right, so the game plan for this is to do something similar, kind of like a Y, you know, with the on and off ramps for the roundabout. But we'll do that over here, and then we'll have the tram traffic kind of keep in a straight line, and then we'll keep that either as a tunnel or as a bridge, but that way we keep it separate. And then what we could do is upgrade this to highway, and then that way it, you know, flows a lot better. And then the other option, and this was a close second, and we might explore this a little bit later on, was to create a bypass for the highway. And that would either be in the form of a tunnel, so you go underneath and just keep highway, you know, like that. So that way, if you wanted to go further, the game would see that that's a faster way to go, because you can go faster on the highway, obviously. And then, you know, through traffic would go then through the tunnel, or if you had a bridge, just go above and over, and then just bypass the roundabout. And then that way, the trams wouldn't be in the way of the highway traffic, but you'd still get the cool, you know, on and off merging effect. But then that would be, you know, not as busy because people would be using the bypass. Hopefully that made sense. I know I speak very fast sometimes, but it all sometimes makes sense. Sometimes. That's the operative word here. Okay, so we are going with that other idea. So hopefully this is a breeze to do. I don't know why it won't be. Alright, so the trickiest part is going to get the spacing with the tram track. So why don't we put that in first? Trams. We need, oh, there's one-way lines too. Oh, there's one-way independent? Oh my goodness, get out of here. That is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, some of you suggested that before, and I didn't realize. I thought, oh my goodness. Wow, this has totally just changed everything now. Alright, well, I'm still going to do what I said, but holy smokes, I wish I had caught on to that earlier. Alright, so this just kind of goes like this. That just goes like that. And from here, now we need just regular roads. And, you know, let's just do highways. Oh, yes! Oh my goodness, this is, like, relatively extraordinarily simple. Wow, that's like, wow, that's exactly what I'm after. This is great. Okay, so direction has a change. Ha ha ha, right? Don't forget that, I know. This poor tram. He's wondering what in the heck's going on. Put those right back in after. Probably have the same problem right over here. And we should be using, actually, with the sound barriers. Now, hopefully this tram just kind of snaps to the tracks that are just below ground. Or I imagine, actually, it'll probably despawn. Okay, so connect these guys back up. Oh, cool. Snap points are still there. Yep. It'll be so bad if I miss one of these directional points, you know, if I don't change it. Oh, goodness. Pressure's on. Okay, so there's that one. I almost was like, maybe I should leave it on purpose and then go back to it last second. No, I don't want to. Someone else close the video. Oh, my goodness. Oh, God. I can't, honestly, I can't even believe I didn't save this game. Like, that is the silliest thing. So, lesson learned, hopefully. Okay. There we go. I think that's the kind of fix we're after right here. And I haven't done it yet, but I do kind of plan on, you know, putting trees and a whole bunch of other stuff just kind of around the highway just to make it look a little bit more, you know, people-friendly. And we can do some pedestrian crossovers and like that kind of stuff too. Actually, we should do that right away, because what we've done now is there's no way for pedestrians to go. They have to go up and over on, you know, on this bridge. And that's a little bit out of the way. So why don't we do something, yeah, for our pedestrian friends? And then we can put the tram network back in. Okay, so why don't we go, say, over here. And it should just be as simple as what we just done right here, actually. Oh, well, okay, there we go. That's exactly it. Let's do, yeah, let's do one more. Why not? That's pretty easy. Give ourselves, you know, a little bit of options here. What am I saying? Give us, give our citizens, our Sims. Sims with a C. Give them some options here. There we go. And just for the sake of being able to maybe make this a little bit of a walkthrough, we can eventually make this into like a little park area. I know it seemed unconventional to have a an interchange as a park, but no sense, you know, not enjoying nature. Even though there were some cars going by, I know that does seem a little bit unconventional, but imagine the time-lapse photography you could take from there, right? Okay, so the city is definitely looking cool. And I'm really digging, you know, all these new new buildings here. So let's kind of extend these roads down. And I had a few requests come in for something kind of like a central park. And now that I look, it looks like this area right here is absolutely prime and perfect for it. So let's get all these commercial buildings out of here. So we won't do that this episode. Maybe we'll do that towards the end. Maybe we can get it started or something. But my game plan is to put in a whole bunch of like rocks and like, you know, custom assets and some walking pathways. Then we'll set up some stuff with the trees, make it look, you know, look very nice. We already are that style of road. Okay. I did say at the beginning of the episode that I wanted to put in another snow depot and a road maintenance. So let's do that. We haven't seen those yet. Snow dump. That's the word I was looking for. Let's keep it over here. This is kind of like our service, you know, our service area. Just pause that while we put our power lines back in place. And what I did was add a few buildings. You can see there's some commercial, some industry, and some office, just so that this area would have a little bit of look. And you can kind of pretend like these buildings here would be the administrative buildings, you know, for these and this and that, right? Like, you know, areas to kind of tell a story and make sense. Kind of adds a little bit to the realism, I think. Okay, so let's look at these. Let's see what's going on here. So road maintenance. And so these guys, they should just kind of go up and down the roads. Take a look at our maintenance. So coverage, you can kind of see, is fairly decent just from one little facility. So we should put one over here as well, it looks like. And then these guys just make their way through and just kind of improve the road. And if you're driving on the roads that are kind of highlighted green, the ones that have been improved, drive a bit faster. So that kind of helps. And then same principle with the roads, right? Got good coverage over here, and anywhere there's snow, kind of slows us down. Anywhere it's nice and, you know, nice and clear, lets the cars go as fast as they can, or as fast as the laws govern. Let's put it that way. Okay, yeah. So this intersection, now that we're getting a little bit more, you know, people into the city, is starting to get a bit more backed up. I'm actually wondering if we should. Is this emptying yet? Not quite. 61% full. Oops. I was thinking. I remember I said this last episode, we could turn this into an interchange to kind of, you know, lessen the load just going through here. But I'll kind of explore with those traffic lights. Okay, so let's get this little area filled in. We'll see how the money goes. And maybe we can get started on that park, because actually I'm kind of eager to do that. Alright, so we should be getting some residents in here. I do want residents to live near the park, to be honest. Okay, so let's go like this. And let's go like that. These guys are calling for services? They are. Okay, so we're gonna have to put some services over here. We got a lot of money, relatively. And I want to actually run... Oh. You know what I think would look really, really nice? Is if the park was kind of lined by a double avenue. Actually, I'll keep the lights like this, because you'll kind of see why I want to do this. That's that nice kind of yellow light. That should look really cool. So I'm going to go the whole way down with this. That's kind of fun, and then we'll just do this. And probably streetcars later on, so we'll do that. And this one here won't have trams. Oh, you know, we could probably go like this even. What have we put over here? Ah, yes, a custom police station, of course. Let me put that right there. I'll show you that in 1 second. Okay, so that's actually pretty cool. It's a European-style police station. And ignore how these people are parked. Oh my goodness. Pretty sweet. I like that. And look at that. We'll take a bite out of crime right next door. Your days are numbered, criminals. Okay. So, lights. Oh, this is so neat. Alright, now, I am a big sucker for trees, so this breaks my heart. But I'm gonna just, unfortunately, erase all of these. Goodbye, friends. Kind of get a clean little slate right here. Okay, so you may have noticed I actually have a whack load of rocks and stuff. So I quite like these. They actually work pretty well for adding a little bit of realism to the city. And I don't know how these guys got zoned over here, but let's change that. Let's put these in. There we go. Okay, so yeah, there is that call for services. So before we start the park, let me just backtrack 1 little second here. Healthcare is good. I could probably use a crematorium though. No, actually I take that back. We're pretty okay for coverage. So I'll put a fire station in over here. There's a nice fun custom one that fits really, really nicely right there actually. Oh, I just love that they're already just covered in snow. Like that's so just convenience, I guess is a good way to put it, right? And so I really like the look of this one. You can kind of see it's like a nice long row of garages. Hold lots of fire stations. This one has 16, so that should really, you know, bolster our fire strength to the area. Yeah, so these guys over here would like some more. So why don't we put... Can we afford something like that again? 40,000. Gosh darn it. What is this one here? Fire department medium. Well, what's the difference between these two? That one's cheaper, and it has more... Interesting. Well, let's use one of these. I like this one more. Okay, so 3 speed, please. And we could probably sneak one of those. Oh, look at that, right there. Kind of, you know, putting all of our emergency services right over here, it looks like. Okay, so that's fine right there. And that should hopefully meet most of these guys' demands. Because policing is pretty good. Yeah, I think fire coverage was just our little, you know? And it would be a shame to have this area burned down. So why don't we just put even something over here, even if it's just like a small little one, right? Just put that, yeah. Okay. There you have it. Now, all of these guys here would like a, yeah, some kind of more services. But I wonder what services these guys really need. Garbage we got. Healthcare we got. Death care, again, we got. Right? Let's see healthcare up here. We can put something up here, I guess. Sure. Sure. I'll do it. Because of all those one-way webs, let's put that like that. Okay. That hopefully did it. Yeah, I'll just let that kind of run. I think it's a matter of just, you know, putting in the time. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this park finally. Sorry for all the delays here, guys. Now, what I was going for was kind of like a central park, you know, in New York kind of feel. And with that, there's quite a few large rocks and everything that's kind of hanging around, a lot of trees. So why don't we just go for a couple big boulders just kind of hanging out, or we can make like a little rock formation and then have some paths to kind of go around it. Yeah, let's see if we can kind of make this just off the top of our head. Hopefully it should look kind of cool. There we go. I like to stack the rocks, make them look kind of overlap. And I don't quite remember the name of all these rocks in terms of like the asset. And these ones, I might be able to dig up the workshop link. But if you guys happen to know the links to these, definitely feel free to post them. The way YouTube usually works is if you post a link, it unfortunately goes to the spam. I'll check the spam a little bit more often. So if you guys do post a link and you don't see it right away, it's not like, you know, it's not that it's not there. It just unfortunately went to the spam folder. So if you post it again and again, you know, same thing kind of happens, right? But I think if you do post often, and I keep like, you know, approving your post type thing, I think YouTube kind of gets smart to that eventually, and then you'll kind of have posting privileges. But don't abuse them. I'm wagging my finger right here, otherwise you'll be in trouble, and I'll take them away from you. So, just, you know, that is my little speech. Okay, so just a few rocks, like I said, right? This would be kind of fun just to kind of climb all over and just, you know, read a book or something on a sunny day, winter or not. Anyway, so what I do usually is I'll start with small rocks and work my way up. But since I knew I wanted a few big boulders, I just wanted to drop those guys in. And then traditionally what I do is I'll start just some small rocks and just kind of, you know, place them here and there. And because I'm a man of variety, I like to, you know, keep it mixed up. We'll just kind of keep on changing the styles of rocks around. And then what I tend to do is I build these little clusters that kind of start forming. And then that way when I move into bigger rocks, they kind of overlay a little bit more nicely. So we'll just kind of keep on moving through. And again, not like, you know, there's no real exact science to this, right? But now you can kind of see when I zoom in, right? It looks kind of cool. It's just a little bit nicer, or just, you know, more unique than if I were to have just the one on its own, right? And kind of see what, just kind of sneak one more in here. And these kind of work well together. And I like, you know, again, variety, so we'll just kind of mix all that up. And that looks a little bit cool, you know? Keep all that over here. And they don't all have to be the same, you know, size or type or anything. You don't even have to connect. Like, you guys can do literally whatever you like. That's the best part about this game. Okay, so just, yeah, a few little rock collections like that. And then, yeah, maybe we can call that enough. Again, there's no real set amount. And now what we can do is switch over to our pathways like this. And have a nice little romantic walk right through our soon-to-be park. And just, yeah, sneak around our rocks. And the beauty will happen when we decorate. Not that decorating with boulders is not, you know, decorating, but we gotta beautify it still. Okay. Gotta keep an eye on when the path kind of, you know, gets a little bit shrunken like that. Sometimes it can look a little bit too narrow and unrealistic. And again, like, there literally is no right or wrong way to go in terms of path. You just do whatever you feel like. Traditionally, I'll go for something that I could kind of see myself walking. Like, I don't think I would draw, you know, a big spiral or something, right? Oh, and it's snowing. How peaceful. So for those of you who don't live in like a winter climate or have never even seen snow. Snow, I mean, it's cold obviously because it's winter. You know, you go outside, you're bundled up. You're like, you're not necessarily freezing. You're doing stuff too, so you don't really think about the cold, or at least you kind of grow immune to it over time. And it's fun. Like you just do like wintertime activities, like like skating and all that kind of stuff. It's fun. Imagine like rollerblading on ice, right? Like that'd be kind of like, it's scary, it's exhilarating, it's great. And, like tobogganing and skiing. Oh my goodness, I sound like a total Canadian right here. But yeah, you go out there, you put on your toque, don't you know, and you keep yourself nice and warm with your mittens, and you go out and get your Tim Hortons. Oh my goodness, Tim Hortons is it's like a coffee, a brand of coffee houses. But that's like a very Canadian thing to do. Go out and get your Tim Hortons. Actually, whenever there's like snowstorms and stuff, people like plaster all over their Facebook, these like pictures of how terrible it is. They're like, I'm still going out to Tim's, that kind of stuff. Okay, so I wasn't lying. Like these are all like just an insane amount of custom assets. Okay, what can we use for our park? I want to use a few actual parks just so that we can actually increase the land value. And I know what I'm looking for already. I'm looking for, it's like a public restroom. It's always a good one to kind of drop in. Here it is right here. A public toilets. Or a washroom, as we would say in Canada. Or a bathroom. It's funny how, all these things are kind of different. Let's put a couple of these in. And drop in. Oh, that's a little bit bigger than I thought. Oh, why don't we, oh yes. Oh, you are a good one, aren't you? Yeah, have that at the one end. That's kind of neat. Just looking in like that. Yeah, I like that. Alright. So yeah, just a couple more of these. Maybe we can do one of these on the other side too. Ah, it doesn't fit, darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it, because that would have been kind of fun. Alright, we'll use that later on. That's a cool little asset to have. Oh, we could use a parking lot or two over here. Haven't really put any of those in just yet. There we go. Okay, people will now park and use our park. All right. Doubling up on the word park. Now, is that enough to kind of boost our land value? It does look like it. I know we need some parks in the rest of the city, so we'll kind of pick and choose some things to do there as well. But hey, now this is getting places. Alright, so let's do some more beautifying here. Okay, so what I'd like to do next is I'll start putting in some grass. I know we don't really see much of it in the winter, but I'll kind of mix that in and around the rocks. And because the rocks are kind of layered, it looks kind of cool. Just kind of click that all throughout. There. Again, nothing too crazy, but when you zoom in, you can kind of see it just adds a little bit, just a little bit of something extra to it. And then from there, what I like to do is I'll switch usually to these really, really tall trees. We want to look these ones up in the workshop. I think they're called, yeah, Scott's Pine Tree with 1 T. And then I'll just drop some of these in. And then I don't have it turned on right now, but what I'll use is the prop anarchy. And you can kind of see I can go through some of the rocks, but some I can't. So I would just be able to, like, plop it essentially anywhere. It would kind of, come into my mind type thing. So it's the more beautification mod. I have to test that again. I think it may have been updated. And prop anarchy. It's kind of they work kind of hand in hand when you're doing parks and that kind of stuff. Let's just bring these lights back up. Alright, so I don't want to be too overwhelming with these because we actually haven't used these anywhere else in the city yet, right? So we got to make a little mental note to kind of use these a little bit more often. But you don't want to be too overpowering with any one type of tree. Okay, so we can just do little bushes or two, kind of, here and there. Just kind of, plunk them around, maybe where some of the trees kind of ended up. And then I've got some ferns as well through here. And then the way I downloaded most of my my mods and assets is I just literally, would just cruise through the workshop, you know, maybe once or twice a week and just kind of see what's new, see what's popular, and just kind of go from there. And then that over the last, like, you know, 8 or 9 months, it's just accumulated to about about 1,000 plus now. So including my my mods, I think I'm at almost like 1,050, maybe even 1,100 individual assets and mods. Like that's pretty crazy. And I had to do like 2 computer upgrades just to kind of keep up with everything, you know. So I know there's not necessarily this much greenery in the wintertime, so we're kind of, I think, stretching it a little bit, but at the same time, not everything is like, you know, dead and gone. So these are kind of like pine trees, right? So that's kind of why they've got some needles, but I get that these little ferns necessarily wouldn't be around, right? So that's why I'm not going overboard with those. So yeah, let's switch back over to some other trees. I know these ones here are going to be kind of just sticks and stuff. That's totally fine by me. It is still a park after all. Okay. And then, again, just keep on switching around. Really, the more variety, the better, because then it just looks a little bit more real that way. And then we'll finish off the area with some pine trees, because those will look nice and alive and healthy. Oh, and for those of you that are following along with the developments and updates and stuff with the game, there's actually an update coming out. I don't actually know the date. I think it's about a week or less. But they're going to be doing some texture filling for the trees. They're going to be looking a little bit more real, which will be pretty cool. I'm excited for that. So if you load your city one day and you notice there was a patch or something, and all your trees look a little bit nicer, well, that'll be what happened. Okay. Well, let's sneak a peek at this, see what it looks like. Not a bad little place. Definitely not too shabby. And then the last thing we can do, just so that this is nice and safe for our citizens at night, is, oh no, I don't have it installed. I was going to say we can put on, oh darn it. No, I don't have them. I was going to put some lighting in here, but unfortunately I don't have the more beautification turned on. Because the type of pathway we use does not have any, so there's no street lights on them. So we could do instead, and maybe this will be the last thing we'll do before we sign off, is we can just switch over to this, and that way it's nice and illuminated, so it's safer for our citizens. I don't actually think that makes a makes it actually safer, you know, in the game in terms of like mechanics, but like, you know, in real life it would obviously be much safer to walk through a lit path at night than a pitch dark one, both in the sense that you can see where you're going and it'll discourage people from, you know, pulling shenanigans. Okay, why don't we sneak another road, or little path, I mean, right through here. There we go, and then we'll just remove that bit of grass. There we go, that's great. Alright guys, well I think we'll call it an episode right there. Nice little beautiful shot of the Northern Lights, a nice little park we made here. Definitely digging this. And oh my goodness, I cannot believe, I'm going to save this game right away, I cannot believe I did what I did. And, like, knock on wood, I will never do that again. Holy smokes, like, wow. But luckily I saved it. Holy goodness, I probably could have gotten away without even saying anything. You guys may not have noticed. That would be a little bit deceitful of me, just in case, you know? But no, I'm glad everything is, you know, everything is on the up and up. I'm really happy, even with this little setback. You know, the city is looking great, especially at night. This, what is it that we're doing wrong with our lives, my goodness, is these traffic lights. Okay, so I'll figure out the timing of the traffic lights with the Traffic President mod, because yeah, you can kind of see our intake. It's a little bit slow, you know, letting people in off the highway. So, oh my goodness. I mean, who knows? We could even do a huge overhaul of the highway system, and we could have collector lanes, so we can have more efficient merging. But we'll figure it out. I mean, The fun thing I like to do with this city is to kind of try new stuff out so we can kind of put it to work, you know, in bigger cities later on. So like I said, we're going to have some fun with this, but I don't imagine this being like ongoing forever. You know, I think we'll kind of shift over to something a little bit warmer once the springtime rolls around. Those are kind of my thoughts. Anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoy this series so far, and I know I'm making little face palms here and there, but hopefully they're not too bad. And I do know that I haven't reconnected the trams yet. We will get to that next episode. I just want to, you know, get the new parts incorporated too. So in case you guys are wondering about that. Okay, that is it. I will see you in the next one. I look forward to reading the comments, and my goodness, what a silly boy I am sometimes. Okay, guys, until the next one, take care of yourselves, and boy, oh boy, hopefully no more of this craziness. Alright, guys, you're the best.